Hey, this is Natasha Nurse, the lifestyle editor of Plus Model Magazine, and I'm really excited to be speaking with Joy Tribble. She is the founder and creator of the Plus Strut 5K. So currently, she's a morning drive radio personality and contributor, plus the traffic announcer for the Michael Bazin show on Mix 87.7. Joy Tribble, aka Justin Joy, has always been known for having a bright spirit and an infectious personality. Delighted to use one of her God given gifts in radio. She's also using her 15 plus years in marketing and special event planning to birth the first 5K for plus size women in North America called the Plus Strut. 2018 is the inaugural year for this groundbreaking event, and the buzz is brewing. Having been a plus model and a brand ambassador for many plus size brands and companies, she not only understands the plus woman, but she is the plus woman. The plus industry is trending with many uh, fresh ideas and are taking place for women to step up to the plate, to boldly let their light shine. The hope for the Plus Strut is to change the narrative on what society believes plus size women can do and how amazingly powerful they are. The goal is essentially you don't have to be a professional runner or an athlete. It's really about just you showing up as you are, where you are, and being confident in who you are as you cross the finish line. So, Joy, how are you?
Well, listen, interview over. I think you got all of that in the bag. I am fantastic, Natasha. Thank you so much for the opportunity to chat with you on your platform.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more about myself and about the mission of the Plus Strut. Um, where should we start? Should we start with me? Should we start with the Plus
Yeah,
Strut?
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sure. Fantastic. So, as you mentioned in the bio, I've been a brand ambassador for several different plus brands throughout my career. When I said 15 plus years in the bio, I thought, good Lord, I'm dating myself. People are going to be able to determine how old I am. But that also speaks to, my level of tenure and understanding and why I thought it was time to do something like this. I've been a radio personality since I was 23 years old, so that puts me almost 20 years into the industry. And so from the perspective of being able to connect with people, I do think that's something that is a gift of mine. And in coming up with this idea, the Plus Strut, that was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Our core values are inclusion, diversity, community, and fun. And so connection and community are synonymous, in my opinion, to one another. Connecting with people, it establishes community. There was a television show, don't know how old you are, but it was called Cheers, and part of their theme song was, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came. And so the thought process behind the Plus Strut was being able to put something athletic together. Okay, so the misnomer is oftentimes that being a certain size, you're incapable of doing a certain thing. Now, 5Ks there's nothing new under the sun. They happen every weekend in the summer, particularly in Atlanta, if not 2, 3, or 4 of them. And plus size women have done them. I've done them. But the difference here is that there's something really unique about seeing another person that looks like you, that may be able to identify the same struggle that you have. And so when you see that moment, that's like a spontaneous combustion, because sometimes you don't have to say a word. Just seeing that person, you connect silently with their energy because you already know what some of their struggles may have been. Not everything is the same, but there is a common denominator. And so I just thought about being able to see a sea of women that are thick and sexy and voluptuous and chubby in all the right places, right? And just being able to celebrate what is. Okay, so often we are chasing weight loss, or I need to look better, I'm trying a new wig, or the next, fingernail craze, whatever it is about altering who we are. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I like a good wig, okay? But the thought process was, when are we going to just be okay with where we are. If you want to make adjustments along the way, then that's perfectly fine. But today, this is what it is. So let's celebrate that as we are and just take the next steps forward into getting something like this done. And so I often feel like when you are able to triumph over one thing or one area in your life, it gives you permission to be able to step up to the plate for the next thing that you want to try to accomplish in your life. And so my hope for the Plus Strut is that women will see this as an opportunity, like I said, to connect, to see it as a bucket list item, to use it to just move our bodies. You know, I'm guilty. You know, lots of times I live a sedentary lifestyle, so I'm not this triathlete by any means, right? But I did feel like, and if I can be very honest and transparent, being in the plus community for as long as I have been in it, you see a lot of things, but you also start to see some of the same things. And that's not bad, because sometimes imitation is the best form of flattery. Like I said, there's nothing new under the sun. But I felt like as a community of women and the things that I've seen and the women that I know, I thought we are far more intelligent and creative than continuing to sort of recreate the same thing. And I hope I don't get any backlash from that, but that's just a real honest place. That was my observation, being in and then stepping away. So I thought, why not do something that is sort of out of societal norms as it relates to this community? And that doesn't mean that we can't, but it's just this has never been done before. And so I thought it was an Oprah aha moment that said there are plus size women that do 5Ks, but what about one that's specific to the community only, and to see what emerges from that. So I know I've said a whole mouthful in that 4-minute spiel, but that's just some of the background in terms of where it came from, the ideology behind it, and what my hope is, the takeaway that people will have.
I love that.
Coming to these. Yeah.
So now so I'd love to hear your thoughts when it comes to how this relates to the body positivity movement, because at Plus Model Magazine, we definitely have written and shared our thoughts on what does it mean to be body positivity? What does body positivity mean to us? What do we feel like it should mean to the community? Have you thought about how the body positive movement is going to embrace or push back on what you're doing? And if you are getting any pushback, what do you think that's kind of contributed to?
No pushback. The Plus Strut is a body positive movement. It is. It's one and the same. I mean, it's highlighting, like I said, it's highlighting who you are, where you are, as you are, and that's what the body positivity movement is about. It's about being unashamed. It's about celebrating our uniqueness, however that shows up, and to take courage with even our flaws. Because we are all flawed, but there's something about owning your flaw that gives you the courage to take the next step in a thing. So I think that's what body positive is about. It's about just, this is what it is, and I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it or color it a different way. This is just what it is. I'm going to be positive about my body where I am right now. And if I choose to make adjustments, that's body positive too, because it's my choice. I get to do this for myself. And you don't get to tell me what's right or wrong about it. That's what I feel.
Interesting. Okay, because I feel like it's very interesting with social media, where you see a lot of interesting commentary around the conversation of plus size women and exercise, plus size women and body movement, like you're suggesting. And even though I fully 100% agree with you in the fact that like body positivity means you love your body at any size, right? And it means that you should love your body when it's moving, when it's not moving, all of that good stuff. It seems to me, at least personally, I've seen the kind of, if women are promoting exercise and they happen to be plus size, that they get sometimes this pushback of like, why are you promoting weight loss? Why are you promoting exercise? As if it's wrong to move your body. And I'm finding that conversation to be a little disturbing, because it seems to me anti-body positivity, and it also seems to be anti, like just not intuitive, because if you love your body, wouldn't you move your body, right? Like we're not meant to be lost. So why are we not embracing
And
that.
why would we not do it? Yeah, and that's sort of what was some of the backlash when Monique, the comedian, when she started to lose weight. People
Mm-hmm.
were saying, you're getting too skinny. You're not going to be. And if I can be honest, listen, people might be sending me emails in a moment. But sometimes misery loves company. And when you start to
Mm-hmm.
step away from something, I'm not saying that being, a certain size is miserable, that you're miserable, but people begin to feel when you make movement in your life that you're leaving them behind. So I don't think it has anything to do with the weight loss. I think it has a lot to do with people moving. And by moving, I mean they're making a decision to do something with what they have, and you might not like the fact that they've decided to do this, because to your point, moving our bodies is a good thing. So why are we making it a bad thing? So it's when you start to decide to do something with what you have, people feel like, oh, they feel like you're gonna leave them, so they'll make what you're doing a bad thing versus celebrating what you're trying to do for yourself, because everybody's walk is personal. This is a personal journey. We just all happen to have a common denominator, but our lives are personal. And so to my point, you don't get to tell me what is right or what is wrong. This is my personal journey. I'm going to be in the casket by myself. So you don't get to tell me how this is going to go. And you can stay there if that's what you want to do in terms of your mentality, but I'm going to separate myself. If that's what it is, if it's separating from the negativity, you can stay there in that place. I'm still going to do this, and I'm still in the body positive community. So just because you have something to say about it doesn't make what I'm doing any less right.
I agree. And, and it's interesting because maybe I think that's also, that needs to be said, and that the body positive movement has many faces, has many different spectrums to it, right? It's not just one type of person who's an advocate or a part of the movement, that we can all come from different perspectives and still be for the cause, right? And I think that hopefully, as people are listening to this, can understand that that's what we all are striving for, because there are certain like for my own self, like I personally had to really put in more effort in being more fit, because there are health reasons for me, like health concerns for me not to be. So and that's my personal journey, which I would never like transpose onto other people to say that, oh, if you don't run or you don't exercise, you're not going to be healthy. No, absolutely. I just know for my personal body, I need to move, like to be to not deal with other
to live. So and just because you exercise, it doesn't mean that you're going to lose a ton of weight either. Exercising is just sometimes, it's just to feel better. Those endorphins are addictive. And so sometimes you want the feeling that you get from working out. It doesn't mean that you're going to lose weight. I mean, listen, I've tried to lose weight and I haven't. But I do know what it feels like. You know what I mean? Like after a good workout, you're like, man, I feel better. It's almost like the recalibration. And so it's almost like you're getting penalized because you want to feel good. But you take the bitter with the sweet with anything that you do. So that's my take on it. That's because there's always going to be a naysayer. They're always going to be there. Even the people that are, like you said, in the community, they're going to be there too.
Absolutely. And now with creating this, I guess, what are some of the surprises that you've learned along the way with women who are signing up to be a part of it, with getting it up and running?
Yeah, there have been some interesting interesting mile markers, pun intended there, as it relates to doing something. And I think that happens anytime you're starting any entrepreneurial, endeavor. You're just going to have those things. Girl, you want the people to call me and get mad at me, don't you? You want the people on my tail. Let's just say, I think what the challenge is. The challenge that I've seen is that it's the first year. And so people are curious. They don't know what it's going to be, what the turnout is going to be, how it's going to manifest. So I think what's happening is that some people are on the sidelines. But the good news about what we're doing is that there are folks that are pulling the trigger and they haven't second guessed it at all. We have women signed up already from Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, New York, Florida, Portland, Oregon, and the biggest one when it came to my inbox, I didn't know what to do, is from Bermuda.
Oh, wow.
And so Natasha, yeah, and if I can be very honest, the fact that this was just a simple thought, I was lying in bed, and I just went, surely there's a 5K for plus size women. I mean, just, it wasn't any, ta-da moment. It was just this simple, fleeting thought almost. And I sort of had to grab it back to say, wait, there is something like this. To see that someone from Bermuda was able to connect with this idea. I've had women from South Africa email me and say, can you bring this to our town, because the women in this community need this type of encouragement. And it brought me to tears, because I thought, you don't realize the impact. So I think impact is on both ends. The impact that people sometimes might not think will happen from something like this, and then the impact that does happen from something like this. So it's sort of, you're in a hodgepodge. You're in the middle of celebrators, and then you're in the middle of those that are curious. So finding balance within myself to say, no matter what, come what may, we're doing this, and we're going to prove anybody wrong that has anything to say about it. So I think I've just been surprised at the amount of people that have connected with it, and that see the vision. Because everybody's not going to see the vision, and that's okay too. But for those that do see the vision, you know what I mean? It's for those people. For the ones that see the vision, it's for them. So that's what it's been. It's sort of been the curious ones that are sort of on the sidelines, and I look at them and I go, but surely you understand this. Surely this is your demo. We're talking to the same people. So what's the challenge? But just wait for 2019.
Gotcha.
Everybody hold tight. So, but no, there's been lots of excitement. I mean, the fact that we are on the line now already speaks to the fact that there's goodness to what the event means and what it highlights and celebrates. And so we know that this is a really good thing.
And with your own personal journey, I'd love if you feel comfortable sharing, just like what have been some of the challenges that you've dealt with to be more fit and healthier and make sure that you're moving your own body.
Ooh, girl. Yeah, that's a challenge, and it's still on my list to cross off. That's a living thing for me, and I created the Plus Strut for myself. I created it because I needed something like this. I needed to be able to see other people. Because here's the thing, like I said, I've worked out, lost weight, gained weight. Some of the time it's been that I've worked with people that don't look like me, and so they don't understand my struggle. You don't understand my struggle. And so you put me on a program where I'm supposed to do this and eat this way and work out this way. But my body is different than yours. And yes, a lot of people say the anatomy of the body is the same in every person, but that isn't working for me. And so I need somebody that gets it and can relate and can create something that will fit me, that will give me the type of consistency and longevity that I know I need. And so I did the Plus Strut for myself. It was something that I thought that I would want to attend because I need that support. I need to be able to, I need for somebody to say, Joy, come on, you can do it, if I can be honest. So I think that's been one of the struggles for me, is the can you do it? Because weight loss, if that's what this is, and it can be lumped into some other things. Any other challenge is that I lost my train of thought, but it's one of those things where you need people, you need help. We need people. Whatever you try to put your hands to, you need people's support. If it's you got it, if it's I'll stand alongside of you and walk with you crossing over that finish line, but you need that support. And so I just figured, why not create something? I figured, why not? That's what I thought.
Absolutely.
I thought, why not?
For me personally, I think for me, not prioritizing my health. I think I had a a very bad role modeling growing up where, you know, you always focus on your goals and achievement and doing the hard work with your mind, and always saying there's always time later for your body. There's always time later for the spirit or whatever like that. But at the end of the day, you know, we don't live in a vacuum, and we can't compartmentalize things that we need to, right? And your mind, body, and soul are connected, right? So if you start to neglect one part, it trickles down and affects the other. And so that's something that I've been trying to just say, like, listen, like I struggle with not even eating enough, right? So I'm like making an effort, like before I do anything else, I have to eat.
Yep. Eat, yeah. And I remember what I was going to say. The struggle for me was, it was always so insurmountable. I always thought it was like trying to climb Mount Rushmore, you know, to try to get over the obstacle of weight loss. And so I think for me, it was in my mind. I think maybe you said that too, but it's combating the mind, because it feels like the goal, the end of the thing is just so far away, and it's so tough to achieve. And you're like, I got 35 pounds to lose. You know, I can't even get 2 pounds off. How am I going to get this done? So it's always in my mind, and it's the how. How can I do this? How will this happen? How will this work? And sometimes it's the start that stops you. And that has happened lots of times for me as it relates to weight loss. The start has stopped me because I just thought, this is too much. This is too much. And I talked myself out of it, if I can be honest. And I think that's why I love the Plus Strut and that we're doing it, is because this is just putting one foot in front of the other and not talking yourself out of it. And just, it's not insurmountable if you just keep moving. And then you will have people alongside of you to cheer you on to get you there. If that's symbolically, if that's, you know, if it's the symbolism of, you know, that support that you need to help you with the next area in your life, but it's that it isn't insurmountable. Like they say, it wasn't, listen, I don't know who said the quote, but it's always impossible until it's done.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, there's the word impossible has what? Possible in it. So
possible. Yeah, right, exactly, in it. So, right. Totally.
And also, you know, I mean, I know, you know, obviously nothing's perfect, but like even with the movie like Creed, right? Like, and yes, I know boxing results in traumatic brain injuries, but
right.
You know, when Rocky, right, is speaking to Creed, he's saying, you know, like one punch at a time, one round at a time, right? Just like you just one step at a time. You've got
one step at a time. Yep,
yeah, you just got to move forward. And also I think I have found personally, like in my own journey as well, just like instead of focusing on like a number, right, or this certain type of expectation, just be present in what you're doing, right? So if you said you're going to do 10 sit-ups, just do 10 sit-ups, right? And whatever happens from them is icing on the cake, but just literally just being present in every exercise, in every movement. That's more meaningful than coming up with this idea of, well, I'm going to do this and this and this, and it's going to equal this amount, you know, on it, all of that. It's throw that out. And just because everyone who says that they've had, if their goal was to lose weight and that's what they wanted to achieve, that they didn't focus on that, but they focused on the eating daily regimen that they needed to stick to for the 6 months, and the actual physical regimens that they needed to stick to. And then that was the result that got them the results that they wanted, right? Not thinking about that number and holding that above their head, because that does become insurmountable for you, because
it does. It's almost a ransom. You're like, God, I can't pay this fee for I can't pay what it's going to cost me. I mean, and that's why the Bible says, give us this day our daily bread. It's the daily bread. Don't worry about tomorrow's bread. So don't worry about tomorrow's 10 sit-ups. Do today's 10 sit-ups, you know, and so that's, and then the other thing too about the Plus Strut is that we want it to be a safe environment. You know, you want to feel safe. You don't want to feel, and safety means different things to different people. But I still always go back to that place of community and connection. I mean, when you know you're around people that care about you, it allows your vulnerability a seat at the table, you know, because we protect ourselves so much, you know, and we're so afraid, you know, whether we admit it or not, as to what people think about us and what they're going to say about us. And so going sometimes to events where it doesn't appear that you're celebrated, it keeps you withdrawn. But we don't want people to feel withdrawn. We want them to feel celebrated and to get out and to connect with another person and to encourage, them, and really to ultimately love on them, in the humanitarian way, your fellow sister, along the way. So it's really more, it's not as much about the event as it is about the takeaway and what people will get, because I want people to walk in and it feel like Walt Disney, and for them to leave like they just got a big hug. Like, it's that community feeling that I want people to walk away with and say, this was the best thing, not just because I accomplished this 5K, but what the experience provided for me, and to be able to connect with these people and to this moment. So we expect some tears. I know I expect some tears. I will probably cry, to be honest with you. Yeah.
And I guess that just leads to the next question of just, so, would you like to share any specific people, like shout outs for people who are either a part of it or are going to be, promoting or, any of that stuff? And then also, how can people learn more about this, and where can they sign up, and all of that, all those details?
So really, I'm just shouting out my own tribe of people that have just taken to this idea, Natasha, without reservation. I presented it to them, and they just said yes. And so I'll leave them nameless, just because, I hadn't really, not that they would care, but, I hadn't shared with anybody that I was going to, say their name or anything, but just the people, and they know who they are, who have just every step of the way have just given the yes, have given the encouragement, have, helped vet an idea. It's the yes that has really, really helped me to maintain momentum, because I think for anybody that does anything, there are days when you're like, man, can we really, really, is this going to, can we, and not that you don't think that the idea is great, it's just that things along the way sort of, it's just a challenge, it's a challenge that you have to endure. So my tribe has just been amazing. I think God puts people in your path to connect you, to accomplish a goal. So those guys have been great. And then the best way to connect with us, all of our social media is the same, at the Plus Strut, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And then our website, of course, is the Plus Strut. The name behind it, lots of people have always asked, how did I come up with the name? I just thought, when you see a sexy plus size woman, that girl is strutting. Okay, and that is one thing she is doing. There's one thing that and that you notice is the sway of her hips. That's that womanly figure. And so to be a plus size woman, she sure is strutting. So why not do the Plus Strut, honey?
I love it.
So it's the name, yeah. So that pretty much buttons us up.
Okay, and what about the website? If people still want to sign up to come, and dates and times, all of those details.
Yep. So it's May 5th, Saturday, May 5th, in Atlanta, Georgia, at Chastain Park. Sign up is still open and available. Registration actually does go up on Sunday to $40. It's currently $35, but all that information is once you go to our website at theplusstrut.com. There's a button that says register now, and it'll take you to our race registration page with all of the details about registration, location, timing, etc. You get a shirt, you'll get your finisher medal, and some other fun little trinkets that we're thinking about doing for the girls. But yeah, it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun, and like I said, I think it'll be more than just completing the 5K. I think women will walk away with a full experience. And because the goal, and I talked to someone else. I did another interview, and the lady said, I can see this being the Boston Marathon for plus size women. And I said, wow, what a sight that'll be when it does become that, when it does become that. So we're excited. And anything that you birth, it has to grow. I mean, the baby that just came out of the womb has to grow. So we're okay with it being small, and it isn't small, but, it's in comparison to the Boston Marathon. we're okay, we're okay with it being that, because we know that it takes a lot of love and TLC to really make something great. You know, you can't be fly by night or fly off the seat of your pants. And so just to really, really love on this because we don't want, like I said, we don't want this to just be a 5K and you're done. We want it to be this full-on experience that you look forward to every year where you know, like this isn't, it's a timed event, but you're not rushed through the course. When you get finished is when you get finished. You know, nobody's going to say, hurry up, you know, you need to come on. Typically 5Ks for most folks that do them are about maybe 30 minutes. Well, that's unrealistic for a larger person. So you get that extra time at this event to cross the finish line when you cross it. So we want you to feel safe and not to feel rushed and all of that stuff. I can talk a day and a half about this thing, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
I love it, Joy. Thank you for being a joy. Your mom and dad obviously knew who was coming onto this beautiful earth. So yay. And thank you for doing this. I think that it is exciting. And I know that this will be as huge and successful as it's meant to be. It's going to be something that's, like you said, it's safe. It's going to be an experience, right? It's not just a run and a walk. It's experience for people. And it's an opportunity to embrace you and your other women who look like you and just have this momentum sisterhood. And I think that's going to be really exciting. So congratulations on coming up with this idea, birthing it, and having, you know, your first successful year.